Gremlins are in the system, guys. It's not working. What a start. Wondrous. Well, hello again, and welcome to this Tuesday's MBE Movie News. I'm back again. I was briefly on the screen for a second there, because the macro wasn't working. It loves to test me, does Streamlabs, and it tests me on a regular. But look, I'm here to speak about movie news, and as you can see from the headline, it's all about one Zachary Snyder and his up-and-coming Justice League movie. It's set to be coming out in not too long at all. Actually, I don't know the date when it's coming out. I know it's in this month at some point. And Zach has been out speaking about it. He's been out speaking to the Internet Gaming Network. I don't know why he's speaking to a gaming network, but he was, and he had this to say. There's a little headline. Zack Snyder's Justice League ends on a massive cliffhanger. Well, I for one am absolutely befuddled by that, shocked and stunned. I'm not. That's heavily sarcastic what I've just said there. Anybody who has had their finger on the pulse when it comes to Zack Snyder and his Justice League movie will know that he planned for 3 Justice League movies, a trilogy of ensemble blockbusters, and his initial vision for the first Justice League was for it to end with the decapitation of Steppenwolf, his head rolling through a portal and landing at the feet of Darkseid, his sort of master, Lord Almighty if you like. He would have a glimpse of the Justice League members, they would have a glimpse of him, it would all go to black, and then we would be set up for another Justice League experience. That wasn't to be. Joss Whedon got the keys to this movie, if you'd like, metaphorical keys. It was shit. He bastardised it, he cut it up, he racially abused Ray Fisher by all accounts, allegedly. I don't know, I wasn't there. And the rest was history. It was a disaster. Now, Zack has now been gifted the opportunity, if you'd like, to play his vision of this movie out once more. And it's going to be very interesting to see if this is indeed the ending they're going to get. The one I just mentioned, the one that was heavily rumoured in all of the rumour mills in Hollywood and further afield. It will be interesting to see how this movie is going to end. But look, he had this to say. He was speaking to IGN. Thankfully, the monitor is so close to me now that even my geriatric eyes can read the quote. Well done, Empire. Your website aligns shit for Streamlabs, but the quotes are lively and big. This is what he's had to say. Well, it was meant to be 2 more movies. The movie doesn't really encompass any of the additional movies other than little. It hints as you... Terrible English, he just breaks off from a sentence and goes into another sentence. Well done, Zach. Good for you to say, not so good for me to read. It hints as you would at a potential other world. I'd plant the seeds as I had wanted to of what would come in the later films. That's in there. But as far as those stories, that would be to come if ever that happened, which it does not look like it would. He's went on to say this. That's very hypothetical. How do you think I would say I would believe it when I see it, and happy to cross the bridge when I see it approaching? I've got a feeling this intro is going to come back. There you go, I sorted that it was, but I hit the macro once more and it saved my bacon, if you like. First and foremost, I'm going to say I think this is the cliffhanger we're getting. That looks as though he's heavily alluding to the very same cliffhanger that I just mentioned. I'm looking very dark here, and I don't know why I'm looking very dark, because I've got a moonlight on here, man. This ring light is like the light from the sun if you were standing on the surface of the moon. It's unbelievably bright. I've got another light right there. That's unbelievably bright as well. I feel like I'm getting blinded. I feel like, the light of heaven is basking on me, and yet I still look dark, and that's because I've set the camera to very low ISO settings. But look, doesn't matter, I'm live now. Movie Gonk says if it ends on a cliffhanger, then where do they go from there? Well, that is the burning question, and I will do my best to try and get into that in a few moments. But it looks as though it is going to be the cliffhanger that he has heavily been rumoured to have put in his version of the movie. We will see Steppenwolf getting decapitated. Darkseid will be on another planet. There will be portals. There will be a vision of the Justice League from one end and a vision of Darkseid from the other. And then it goes off and it goes to black. Question is, what is going to happen if this is indeed the case? Are they going to take the pieces of this movie, the Snyder Cut, and go into the future with his vision of the DCEU? Time will tell. Look, I think they'd be foolish to not at least think about it. Look at the analytics the optics on social media. Look at how much money this movie is going to earn by having a black and white version. He has visions of putting this in IMAX. You look at the buzz for this movie, the social media buzz, the buzz in real terms. That trailer, it was unbelievable. When you seen Jared Leto's Joker at the end, it was pandemonium. And I think they would be doing a real misstep to not at least have a little notion of something happening with Zack Snyder and the DCEU after this movie. I understand it could come out, it could be utterly shit, the hype could be for nothing. I think that's unlikely though, but it could happen, and they don't want to maybe commit themselves at the moment. But I think if this movie goes off the way that it's looking like it is, it explodes on HBO Max, it creates so much buzz that there's thousands of new subscribers. It hits theatres over here in the UK, we are opening up hopefully in the next couple of months, and it does really good business. I think we could see something happening with Zack Snyder and DC and Warner Brothers. This cliffhanger is in there, it's a little carrot dangling. I think we will see future DC movies with Zack Snyder. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I think the Flashpoint movie that's coming very shortly, it's started shooting. It will lay the pieces in place that could see multiverses. It could see this different version of the Justice League becoming canon. I want that to happen. The other reason it's very interesting, of course, is they actually gave this guy so much money to spend this and make it a reality. And why would they do that? If they didn't have plans to continue his vision moving forward, why would they give him the money? I understand sort of optics for the new streaming service. It's AT&T that own the rights to Warner Brothers and HBO Max. They own this company. It may just be a nice little thing to get bums in to that streaming service. That may be why they've just gave him, $30 million to complete his vision. But it seems a lot of money to throw down the drain when you don't want to continue his version of the DCU. We've got another comment here. Snyder ends his story on a cliffhanger, but has stated he is done. Sounds like a J.J. Abrams thing to do. Yep, yeah. J.J. of course famously came into the Star Wars franchise and created a new era of storytelling. Didn't want to use Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker, ran away, and then came back and had to finish it, and it was a disaster. I should have spoke about J.J. Abrams incidentally on the show tonight. I was struggling for topics. JJ's about to remake a Superman movie, and it looks as though it's not going to be with Mark with Henry Cavill, so that's very interesting. JJ, for all his faults, very good at reinvigorating ailing franchises, ailing stories, so I expect that movie, that remake of Superman, to be really, really good. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Are they continuing the Snyderverse of the DCEU? Will we have Henry Cavill booting up again as Superman in his vision of the universe, like we're having Ben Affleck coming back, Michael Keaton, all the usual gang, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, and like we've got Robert Pattinson doing a different side of things with Batman, with obviously I'm blanking on his name just now for some reason, absolutely shocking. It'll be very interesting to see, Matt Reeves, how they my brain works very mysteriously. Be interesting to see if we'll have different versions of those characters. Will we have a different Superman, a different Batman, and different universes? I sincerely hope that Zack Snyder has all the luck in the world, makes really good money for HBO Max, gets this movie out in theatres and we can go and watch it. I would love to see this movie with a 15-minute intermission or whatever. I hope it makes a lot of money. I hope he has another chance to come back and do his vision of the DC EU. I hope we get the trilogy of Justice League movies, and I'm very, very excited for this movie moving forward. And look, on that note, I'm going to move forward to the next topic. It's all about WandaVision and Russo. Paul, what's their names? Anthony and Joe Russo. I was about to say Paul Russo. And how they never had any plans for WandaVision when they were putting the final touches on their Infinity Saga. Their Infinity Saga, it wasn't theirs. Their Endgame and Infinity War movies. They weren't given the notion of WandaVision. They weren't given the seeds of the new era of the MCU. They just get told to finish what they were working on and move on to pastures new. We've got another comment here. I think JG's on a producer for the Superman project, which is rumoured to exist in the Batman world. Now that would be very interesting indeed, wouldn't it? We have already seen the Halloween shots on the set of Matt Reeves' Batman movie, and there is a Superman costume there. That created the concept of this superhero existing in the Batman trilogy. I would love to see a Superman character popping up. That Matt Reeves Batman trilogy is getting all the more interesting as time goes on. I'm really looking forward to Pattinson. By all accounts, a really interesting figure on the set. There's lots of rumours about him getting up to some dodgy shit with Zoe Kravitz and things like that. be really interesting to see how they take that trilogy moving on. But look, yeah, I'll get into this. There's quite a lengthy quote here. I'm not going to hang about reading the second quote because, to be quite frank, I don't think that's as prescient to the actual conversation. Well, it mentions WandaVision, so we'll get into it. We'll read the two. One of the great things about Endgame, I think this is Anthony speaking, about Endgame was your job was to sort of bring a sense of closure to a journey that had been unfolding up until that moment. The unique thing about Endgame was, for us, unlike Winter Soldier, unlike Civil War, unlike Infinity War, we did not have to think about what happened after Endgame. And in fact, that was a mutually agreed upon thing that we came to with Marvel, because that was what freed us up. And I'm also speaking for writers Christopher Marcus and Steve McFeely. That freed them up as well to think about the closure, think about the end rather than think about where it goes next. And I think that was really a creative gift to us, and we used that. He goes on to say this: I don't know what we would have done. I don't think we could have done as well with Endgame as storytellers if we were thinking about a future. So Endgame was about bringing it all to an end, and we knew in the back of our minds, we knew that somebody else was going to carry it forward, and the team and filmmakers were going to be able to going to be people that would find a way to pick up the threads and carry a narrative forward in wonderful ways like WandaVision. And no, we weren't thinking about it, and I think that was a great gift to us. Look, man, I completely understand why that would have been paralysing, cumbersome for these two great directors, for the team of writers, to have to think about WandaVision and the future of the MCU, the eternal Shang-Chi. How do we connect this in to this story that we are trying to complete? It would have been too much. To be quite frank, they tied up 10 years, 11 years of storytelling momentously. It was an out-of-body experience going to see Endgame and seeing Captain America grabbing Mjolnir, seeing Hulk reversing the snap, seeing Tony Stark's amazing heroic sacrifice. What an arc that was for that character. And I completely agree with what people are saying about Robert Downey Jr. It was a travesty that guy didn't get any sort of notice, recognition for his work in the MCU in terms of award ceremonies. He didn't have to win, but at least a nomination for that guy's hard work. He was the godfather of this amazing saga. It would have been over-cumbersome. It would have been too hard for those guys to have to think about all of that nonsense. They freed them up, and what we got was magic. And now we are getting into a new era of storytelling with WandaVision. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely amazing that what we're seeing in this next phase. It's starting with a bang with WandaVision. It was supposed to start with Black Widow. I recently read Tom Holland isn't even getting to read the script of Black Widow, getting to see the final cut of Black Widow. So that may hint that there's some interesting things going on in there, spoilerific, moving forward. We've got another comment here. I'm glad WandaVision came after Endgame. There is a tragedy behind both the Vision and Wanda characters from the event of Infinity War. You're absolutely right, man. It's almost been beautiful the way it's played out, because we of course seen Wanda getting snapped out of existence. She comes back. She's not really aware what's happened with Vision. He's been taken apart time and again by this shithead Hayward, that sword. She has to fight Thanos and save the universe. She then has time to sort of, I don't know what, I was about to say decompose, but that was technically Vision. He was decomposing. The vibranium was apparently breaking apart. Sort of decompress was the word I was looking for. And then we get the events of WandaVision. It was really beautiful the way it's played out now. And I'm glad. I'm sure they actually delayed, or they brought WandaVision forward, they swapped it with something else. I'm sure they've done some switcheroo, and I'm glad they've played it out the way it has, because it's in a really unique way to start this new era of storytelling. Really looking forward to seeing Spider-Man 3, really looking forward to Multiverse of Madness with the great Sam Raimi. And yeah, there's some other things I've got going on here in this topic I want to speak about under a sort of general umbrella about WandaVision and the future of Disney Marvel and their release slots in general. First and foremost, this amazing work from the great Boss Logic. This guy is an amazing graphics designer and just artist in general. And look at this, man. Look at this image he has gifted us. And in a sense, he's painting a picture of Tom Holland's Peter Parker gazing out from a sword, looks like spaceship facility, looking down on Earth. And it's Wanda Maximoff's Hex expanding out and eclipsing the entire Earth. Now, I don't know how the end of WandaVision is going to play out. It's going to be really interesting to see this final episode. I can't say how excited I am to see what's going to happen with Vision, White Vision, with Wanda, with Agatha, with the kids, with everybody, man. This is my choice. We spoke about this, me and Stephen, in a review a couple of weeks back when she moved the Hex forward to save Vision. And we did ponder whether this hex could expand out and not stop. She may lose control. It may be she has to sacrifice vision. The grief gets too much for her, and she expands it out across the whole world. And this is what really brings in the buff of the mutants, the buff of perhaps the Fantastic Four. I can't tell you, man, how exciting that would make me, and I love that image that Boss Logic has painted up. That is just sort of manifested what I was thinking beautifully, and an amazing shot, and just a shot of him with the mask off as well. Absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see WandaVision. And again, glad the Russos didn't have to get bogged down with that. The final thing I'm going to say, and I'm not going to linger on it too much because I've got a lot of topics to get through, and time's running out here. It's very, very late. Disney Marvel, Bob Chapek has been out speaking about release slots and shrinking of the theatrical window. Spoke about, I think, Universal doing it, Paramount's doing it to get it onto Paramount Plus. We know that HBO Max and Warner Brothers are bastardising the sort of theatrical release. Looks like Disney are doing it now as well. They have done some analytical sort of delving into the minds of consumers. They've came to the conclusion that film fans are very impatient now, and with a year out of going to theatres and getting things direct to their fingertips, they're going to change the way that movies are being consumed. And I spoke about this in a show the other day about Paramount, and I don't think things are going back to the way they were before. I think it's going to be a very different consumption of film moving forward. I think we're going to see theatres being sidetracked. They'll always be there. I think we will see the theatrical window being shrunken by every major studio, and if they're all doing it, then there's nothing the theatres can do about it. But look, says I wasn't going to linger on it, and I'm not. I'm going to move on to the third topic, so about the great Delroy Lindo. I keep saying the great, but Delroy is great, and his performance was magnificent in The Five Bloods, and he has been snubbed many, many times over the course of the last couple of months with these award ceremonies, the SAG Awards. I don't know if The Five Bloods get nominated. I think it did, actually. Whether it won was another thing or not. It didn't get nominated at the Golden Globes, though, and that is what he has been out speaking about with Collider. I've screwed that there, man. Something's went seriously wrong there. It's actually because I've got the browser up over Streamlabs, the absolute twat that I am. So let's click on Streamlabs. There we go. It's there. Delroy's been out speaking about The Five Bloods, about the snubbing of The Five Bloods at the Golden Globes, and it's getting all very, I don't know, personal about the business of nominations and the sort of the backhanders and the bribery that goes on with it. And this is what he's had to say. I can concur with you regards to that. It's wonderful that actors get recognition for what they've done. I think it's important that it not become a competition, even though on some level we are competing. And that's unfortunate, the unfortunate part. But what I would say, certainly from the standpoint of giving actors recognition, that's absolutely tremendous. And you know I'm a member of the Academy, and so many, many years during award seasons, often I get to watch extraordinary work, and that's really, really gratifying, rewarding, inspiring to see the depth and the breadth and the magnitude of the talent that's out there and on display. Finished up by saying this. It reminded me of certain pockets of the industry. Certain pockets of this process are still a business, and it being a business, the connection between the business and the creative aspect do not always align. And I was reminded that it's very starkly, very acutely in the moment that the nominations for the Golden Globes were announced. In a sense, what he's saying is they didn't give enough backhanders. Netflix, they've got other movies to push in the absence of The Five Blood, and for that reason and that reason alone, it wasn't just about creative, artistic merit. It was about how much money they were siphoning into the Hollywood foreign press. They didn't get nominations, and it's an absolute joke. The movie was amazing. I loved it. It was a great Spike Lee, I was about to say Stanley, and I nearly had a stroke. And Delroy Lindo, man, for me, the standout performer last year by a country mile. It was a great leading performance. This guy was a tragic figure. He had PTSD. He had the relationship with Jonathan Major, was it? Was it Jonathan Major? I'm not sure. I think it was. And it was an amazing performance. His monologues to the camera, walking through the woods at the end, the way he went down, his interactions with Storm and Norman, the great late Chadwick Boseman, it was an amazing performance. And for this guy to be overlooked at various different awards ceremonies, it's nothing short of disgraceful. And I'm glad to see that Delroy is out and just being blunt, being straight to the point and saying it's absolute bullshit, it's not for artistic merit, it's because they're not getting enough money, it's a business, it's dark, it's seedy. We all know what goes on in Hollywood, man. Let's be honest, it's a cesspit in some places. And look, hopefully he gets some recognition at the Academy, man. Hopefully it's not as business orientated. Hopefully it's more for artistic merit. There's 7,000 members apparently. And hopefully they will do the man right. I don't think so though. He's not getting any credit at all. He's getting completely snubbed. I think it will actually be Chadwick this year, and I'm not really that bothered about that. But look, I thought I'd speak about that briefly, man. I'm going to move on to the fourth topic. Jesus, suffering F, I've just scaled juice all over me. That's not good, man. And it's all about Martin Scorsese. Now, I appear to have missed Martin's very interesting comments regarding streaming services. Martin appears to have had a little bit of, how shall I say it, memory loss. He's forgotten that he made The Irishman no later than, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, via Netflix. It was actually Netflix, a streaming service, that gave that man the money. They ponied up $200 million or something to make that, to de-age the likes of Joe Pesci. And he's out now and he's absolutely shitting upon the streaming services from a great height. And look, I tend to agree with some of the points the man's making, because they are commodifying cinema. They're commodifying the art of watching movies. And it's, yeah, we'll get into his comments here. It's all scattered across this article from CBR. It's a terrible website. The orientation, is that the right word? I don't know. The alignment of the article ain't the best. And yeah, I'll try and find the man's quotes. It's a very long article. I'm not reading this. Jesus Christ, man. Where is it? Where is the man's quotes? There, they're there. Scorsese goes on to say, streaming has created a situation in which everything is presented to the viewer on a level playing field, which sounds democratic, but it isn't. If further viewing is suggested by algorithms based on what you've already seen, and the suggestions are based on only subject matter or genre, then what does that do to the art of cinema? Since streaming algorithms can only circulate films on the basis on superficial subject matter, the viewer is closed off to a strict definition of content. Oh, I agree, and I keep forgetting the director's name, but there was an Asian American director made that movie, and I always forget the movie as well. I'm terrible. But she had the chance to work for a streaming service, Netflix or some other one, and she knocked it back for that very reason. For the reason that her movie could have been lost in an avalanche of content. It wouldn't have got eyeballs. And yeah, he's right, it commodifies. She eventually went to A24, incidentally, who gave her the platform to be a very independent filmmaker, find her style, and then she can get the eyeballs later on. And that was very interesting for a young up-and-coming filmmaker to make that decision. But this is, he's bang on. I can understand that the continual bashing of streaming can get boring. These traditional filmmakers who have made their name like to shite on it. Steven Spielberg. And look, I can come and go. I'm on the fence with some of the things they attack them for. They don't reveal enough about their earnings and stuff like that, and that should affect the Oscars and how they get nominated. Understand it's all tangled in red tape. But he's absolutely right what he says here. Martin Scorsese, it is commodifying film. It is shutting off a large part of movies that people would perhaps like through this algorithm, I can't speak, and stuff like that. And that's a shame, because I recall growing up in the 1990s, going to Global Video, a Blockbuster for other places, and just feasting upon a wide array of different movies, trying things I didn't think I'd like and finding out I did like them. That's not the case with these streaming services. The streaming services, I can't speak tonight, they just funnel the same content through to you. So yeah, there's something getting lost. They're commodifying film. It's changing, just like music changed 20 years ago. And look, time will tell how that plays out, man, for film, how it plays out for Martin and the rest of these filmmakers in this generation, man. But look, I'm going to move on, because I'm just tying myself up in knots in that topic, man, and not getting anywhere real quick. So I'm going to move into the penultimate topic on the show tonight, and this one's all about Obi-Wan Kenobi, his series, and a newcomer to the Disney Plus series. Someone has been added, and it's one Indira Varma. I had to read the name there. I know her face. I remember her from Game of Thrones, but I just couldn't remember her name, despite it being right on the screen in front of me. I have geriatric eyes, I can't see it, and on the screen there, I had to look up. But she's joining the cast. She's going to be joining one Ewan McGregor. The details are sparse at the moment. It's just been announced she's joining. She's going to be joining, of course, Hayden Christensen as well. He's playing Darth Julius Vader as the late, I don't know why I'm calling everyone late recently, as Mark Ellis used to see on Collider, guy I was a huge fan of. And yeah, her character details are under wraps, as you do see in this article, but it looks to me like she's going to be a native Tatooiner, if that's even a term. You just look at her, she's got the right complexion to be a sort of Tatooiner, a local, maybe a local of Miss Isley or something like that. It could be a love interest for Obi-Wan. I don't want to see Obi-Wan in this TV show being this downtrodden, depressive guy. I want it to go psychological and look at the effects of what he'd done to Anakin and stuff like that. I want that to eat him up. I want the information about Darth Vader and what he's doing to siphon through to him and how that's going to affect him. I want it to be psychological. But I also want this guy to find happiness. He was part of that Jedi era where intimacy wasn't allowed. You weren't allowed relationships. You had to switch your feelings off. So it'd be really interesting to throw in maybe a little romantic side plot for Obi-Wan in this TV show. Not saying that's going to be the case. She may be the villain of the TV show. I may be completely wrong. If I recall correctly, she was a bit of a viper in the Game of Thrones series. She was a very good actor. She was a cool character alongside Pedro Pascal, I'm pretty damn sure. I can't recall if she was the wife or one of his sisters, but she was an interesting character. It's been a while since I've seen Game of Thrones. It ended on a sour note. I don't want to think about it. But look, the other possibility there we go, screwed it, that I was perhaps thinking about was maybe a recasting of Shmi Skywalker. And of course, the original Shmi Skywalker actress is now 63. She's too old to play the part. And the reason I'm saying that is, of course, Hayden Christensen's coming in to play Darth Vader. And I don't want to see Hayden in the actual Darth Vader suit. He's far too small. He's 6 foot. He's big, but he's not big enough to play David Prowse. Darth Vader, he ain't 6'7", and he ain't get the build for it. So I don't want to see that. I want to see him in flashback forms, tormenting and haunting Obi-Wan. And it could be that perhaps we see some Shmi Skywalker coming in and haunting him as well. He is on Tatooine. I don't know if he had any brushes with Shmi. I think he may have in The Phantom Menace. So she's kind of similar in terms of looks, facial hair and stuff like that. Could we see Shmi Skywalker coming in? I know Stephen would love that. She was his favourite character in the prequel trilogy. So, and incidentally, I never knew she was Swedish. That explains that shit accent. He is giving hope to those who have none. Very Swedish. Well, it's very interesting. I'm loving the fact that Obi-Wan, or the Kenobi show, is starting to have bits and pieces come together. We're starting to get casting. It's coming together nicely, and I just cannot wait to see Ewan McGregor, fellow Scotsman, coming back as the great Kenobi. And it's going to be so interesting. It's 9 episodes, I think. Can't come quick enough for me. I'm really enjoying this what would be the word? Flourish? I don't know. This flurry, there you go, it's very late, of content, Marvel, Star Wars related. It's happy times for fans of those franchises. But look, I'm going to move on, man, to a final topic of what is going on here. It's not working, and I've saved the best for last, really. Stephen informed me last night that the rumour was going a frenzy at one Amber Heard, and potential for Amber to be... What's going on here, man? I can't track my mouse cursor. What the fuck is going on? One Amber Heard, perhaps, getting the sack from Aquaman 2, and that got my brain whirring. Anyone that's watched me previously will know I'm very much in Team Johnny. I think Amber's an abuser. I think she's a manipulator, a dangerous individual. She's had previous for assaulting people. Johnny's had a clean bill in terms of reputation for 30-40 years. We know he likes a drink and he likes the odd drug. Doesn't really change your character that much. I'm very much in Team Johnny. And I think it's despicable what's happened to Johnny Depp over the last 6 months. He's been vilified. He's been called a wife beater. He lost a libel lawsuit over here to the scum, as we call it, the Sun. A shit rag of a paper that I wouldn't believe anything in if you paid me $100 million to read it and try and kid on it was believable. A shit rag. So with that in mind, this rumour mill got me very excited that perhaps Amber was out. She was getting booted, and we're going to move on to a new era of Mira. And that new era would have really been Emilia Clarke for me. I'm a big fan of Emilia. She's a great actor and damn good looking as well. Much better looking than that bint there. So I would have loved to have seen Emilia moving on as Mira, but sadly not to be. It looks as though the rumours have come out and they have squashed it. I think it's the Hollywood Reporter that squashed it, or quashed it, not squashed. I'm mixing my words up tonight. It's clearly tiredness. It's affecting my brain. Either that or the aspartame, whatever you call it, and the Diet Coke or the Diet Iron Brew and all the other shit I've been drinking today. But yeah, man, I don't know if I've got any real quotes or actual parts of the Hollywood Reporter exclusive. This is coming from some website I've never heard of, Small Screen. So, needless to say, I'm not going to linger too long on this. I'm just going to come away immediately. I can't even bring myself to look at that abusing shit. I hope that's true. What they're saying in this article is that she isn't going to get booted, that she is going to retain her job as Mira in the Aquaman movies, but they are scaling down her appearance, that some of her scenes are going to be getting cut from the movie, and that may very well be alluding to a future sacking of Amber Heard, and that's great news for me. I want to see this woman out. It would certainly justify me going and watching the great Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald, Gerard Grindelwald in the up-and-coming Fantastic Beasts 3. I'm a little bit reticent, is that the word? Reluctant is probably a better word, to go and watch that movie because of how Johnny was treated, and I feel the injustice of Amber still keeping their job and Johnny being gone. That eats away at me and it makes me reluctant to watch that movie. See if they get rid of Amber now, I will absolutely come back and watch these movies. So listen to the mood music on social media around the world. Look at how Johnny was received in London. Hundreds of people gathering around him, giving him well wishes. Look at how Amber was received. She was booed. People hate this woman in real life. They hate her on social media. Get her out. She is dead weight. She is a controversial figure. All of the reasons you get rid of Johnny Depp, she is ticking those boxes as well. So I hope she goes. I hope the fucking cow goes, as I like to say in Scotland, and most people like to see in Scotland. Hopefully she gets the boot and we can move on to a happier era of filmmaking, of fandom, and the sort of Warner Brother releases. But look, to say I'm done would be an understatement. I'm going to round the show up. I thought I'd end with a nice little happy topic about Amber Heard getting booted. Sadly it wasn't to be. I had my bubble burst. She's very much clinging on like a shit. But what's your thoughts on the subjects I touched upon? What do you make about this Zack Snyder article? Him talking about a cliffhanger happening at the end of his Snyder Cut. Do you think that's something that could bear fruit moving forward into the future? Do you think we'll see more Snyder movies in the DC EU? Or do you think he's one and done and he's just teasing us, the big tease? What's your thoughts on WandaVision? The Russos speaking about how they didn't have a part in the future of the MCU during the making of the Infinity War and Endgame movies. What you make about all the other nonsense I spoke about. You can comment down below if you've got anything to say at all. You feel compelled to share your thoughts. You can. Do you have HBO Max? I sadly don't, Matt. I don't, because we're in Scotland and the United Kingdom and international markets don't get HBO Max. It's the United States only. So we'll have to go to a theatre and watch this movie when it comes out, and I'll be glad to do it because we're opening up and I can't wait to get back to normality. But wait, man, you can also like the video, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the follow button on Twitch if you want to see more content like this in the future, and you will duly get it if you do. But look, until then, man, I'll bid you farewell. Bye bye, man. I do have a TV as well, Matt. I do.